Okay, I'm going to try something new here, so please forgive the awkwardness and whatever is going to happen here that's not going to be ideal. But I want to give you the opportunity to try some questions and get feedback. So you'll see how this works as we go. I put a link to this great textbook I found. It's open source, so anyone can look at it. And I have a few students recently that were going through generating functions together, so I went to that section and let's just solve some problems, shall we? We're using polynomials to help solve counting problems. I remember this being completely out of left field the first time I saw it, and it's really cool and I really love it, but I will admit it took a little while for it to sink in. So if that's the position you're in, no need to worry. You'll get there. We have two number cubes. They're not dice, technically, because they don't have the numbers 1 through 6. And I want you to think back to when you first learned about rolling two dice and figuring out what the probability of rolling a certain number was. And it may have taken a few tries for your teacher to help everyone in your class understand that when you roll, say, a 1 on one of the dice and a 2 on the other, and you get a 3. So you might have made a little table like this with all the options of the one die and the second die, and then what the total is. But at some point, you realized that getting a 2 and a 1 rather than a 1 and a 2 was a different scenario. There's only one way to roll a 2, and that's for both dice to be a 1, but there are two ways to roll a 3, with a 1 and a 2, and a 2 and a 1. And because the dice are, well, there are just two ways, so it's twice as common to get a 3 than to get a 2. So let's assume you know all that. But what we have here are two non-standard number cubes, and they've got, the first one has 1s on 4 sides. So if we were to fill out this table, it would look like this. And the other cube has only 2 1s, but then 4 2s. So I'm just going to do the first part of this. It asks how many ways could you roll a 2? And I'm going to say that all of these options in the table are going to be 2. And there are 8 of them, corresponding to the 4 ways you could roll a 1 on the first die, and the 2 ways you could roll a 1 on the second die. And that makes a nice little rectangle in the chart of size 8. So of the 36 possible outcomes, because there are still 36 possible outcomes, there would be 8 ways of getting a 2. They didn't ask for the probability, but we're right here. We might as well figure it out. 36 divides into, I guess I'll have to figure out how to edit these videos. 4 divides into both of these, so we would get 2 and 9, so the probability is 2 ninths. What you now need to answer is, how many ways could you roll a 3 or a 4? I want you to write down this little chart, either on a piece of paper or in paint for all I care. If you have a Miro board like I'm using right here, invite me to your Miro board, as long as there's nothing inappropriate on it. Send it to me at itutormath@gmail.com, and I will mark your answer, or at least, give you some feedback, and send you the link to the next video, which I'm planning to make private. So you have to actually do the question to get a response from me. But then I'll send you the link to the private video where I discuss the solution and give you the next part of the question. Of course, you don't have to wait for me. You can go to this link right here and you can look at the question and part B, C, and D, and all the other wonderful, actually, exercises on that page and work through them on your own. There's absolutely no reason you can't do that, except I know how difficult it is sometimes to sit down and just make yourself do that. So anyway, that's the deal. You're going to write down the answer. Even if you just put in an email the number of ways of rolling a 3 and a 4, we'll assume that if you got the right answer, you did the right calculation, although that's a pretty big assumption. And then you'll hear from me. Thanks. Bye for now.